We are going to talk about the International Healthcare Professionals Program.
I'm a consultant in leadership development. I've worked in the NHS for many years. I've also been a manager leadership development where I led particularly on EDI. Now I'm on the faculty for the NHS Leadership Academy. I run open courses, and increasingly I'm having senior managers and clinicians coming onto the programs because they're realizing the value of the approach that I use, and which underpins the program that we've been looking at for international healthcare professionals. Yeah, the thinking environment is helping people think superbly well together. And it comes from the understanding that the quality of everything we do depends upon the quality of the thinking we do first. And that depends on how we treat each other when we're thinking. And I think in these challenging times, treating people with respect and dignity and listening to them, whatever their background, wherever they come from, is increasingly important. And it's why that approach underpins our program.
I'm working in London as a consultant in anesthesia and perioperative medicine at UCLH. My background is quite diverse. I worked in very different countries. I decided to completely change and move over to the UK. Working in all these different cultures and environments, I realized there are different cultures in every system.
Brilliant. And, I've certainly had the benefit of that because, as you said, you've been a student on some of my programs, and bringing that lived experience of working in these very pressurized settings where there are lots of challenges in the NHS, but also coming in externally because you're an immigrant. And we know that there are challenges at the moment that I think really make this program very timely. Is that your experience?
Yes, absolutely. We are planning this program since a while. We did a lot of research on what are the challenges of international healthcare professionals in the UK. But I think that applies to international healthcare workers all over the world. It's a global issue, isn't it? If I work in a new country, in a new culture, I have certain challenges, and we want to look at them.
So, looking back, when we first started to think about this, we started to talk to people one-to-one, and we did some focus groups. What did you see emerging as being the challenges that people faced, which we think our program can help them with?
There are a lot of challenges for people working in a new culture. I find these are personal challenges, like suddenly being in a new culture. That means I have to develop a new identity. I'm not my old German me, but I'm also not a British me. Who am I and how is this merging? And I think the merging can either be quite scary or challenging, but it can also be very inspiring and helping me to grow. And this aspect is one of the many aspects I think we can bring and think about in our program.
Yeah. And I think for me, when I look at it systemically, I think one of the challenges I've seen is we have really experienced people. They bring so much experiences and qualifications and different ways of looking at things and perspectives, but that isn't always acknowledged or appreciated or understood. So those leadership opportunities aren't always available to them. So I think one of the things we're doing is hoping to open the eyes of others to the value, the added value that people like yourself and others bring, but also to build the confidence of the people on the programs to start to apply for programs, to navigate their way through that, to understand maybe what is required. Importantly, to grow in confidence and feel empowered that what they know and what they bring can really make a difference because we need different perspectives. We need fresh thinking about some of the challenges that we face. And very often people from different backgrounds, different cultures bring very different solutions. And we need to have that available to the NHS.
What stood out for me during the research phase when we had group discussions and one-to-one discussions with a lot of different healthcare professionals from different backgrounds was some people come very competent doctors into the new system. But frequently this expertise they bring and the skills and the knowledge is not really recognized because they haven't been trained in the UK. So people don't know, is this person really competent or not? If you, for example, I have been trained in intensive care medicine. The GMC did not recognize this as a qualification. So here I'm not registered as an intensive care doctor, and I'm doing anesthesia as my specialty. And I feel sometimes it's a bit sad that a lot of my qualification can't be transferred one-to-one to the UK. That means for many of us, we bring skills which we have and which we are really good at, but we can't just offer them to the NHS
Yeah.
for various reasons. So there are some obstacles of bringing our own experience and knowledge of sometimes many years of experience into the new system. And we believe it really helps to talk about those challenges.
There's a network element to the programs that we're going to be offering, in that participants become part of a network, and through that there's the opportunity for advocacy, to actually find that as a network we can have a voice in terms of advocating in a way that is appropriate for recognition, and to have the opportunity. One of the underpinning parts to this program is that we're using a philosophy or an approach called the thinking environment, which helps people to think afresh about some of the challenges they face, and an environment that's psychologically safe. And that means that we start to get fresh ideas, fresh thinking, different perspectives emerging that again can help to empower this important group of practitioners. What do you think, Arndt?
I think it will give participants a very special, unique space to be free to think in a safe space where there's no judgment, and especially where there are other people listening who have almost the same experience, even though they have very different backgrounds. There will be a space to be heard, and it's a space where the participants can safely express what are their challenges, what are their real feelings, thoughts, and they will find other people listening and helping them to find solutions. It will be very beneficial for everyone to join and develop their own career in a different country, in a different culture. And it will be amazing to meet all these people and work together with them and find their real problems. And there won't be any ready-made solutions. There will be individualized support for each and everyone joining the program. What do you think people will benefit from when they participate?
It's an immersive experience. They're going to be thinking together. And in order to do that, we will be introducing them to processes. And I've mentioned previously the thinking environment approach, which will give them skills they can use the very next day in their own teams, in the wards, wherever they might be as managers, and indeed with their friends and family. It teaches you a way of communicating and listening that has benefits for any situation, but particularly for those who are wanting to develop their leadership potential. Clinicians on my programs, and the value they find in being able to these skills into their work life is so. Not only are people getting a chance to network, to navigate through the NHS, feel more at ease about being an immigrant and an international healthcare professional. I think something that's really important is they won't feel so isolated, because this is one of the quite poignant things that emerged in our conversations with people, was they could feel quite lonely, and they're trying to figure out how to be, how to fit in, and that sometimes means they're disconnected from who they are, the way they've grown up, from their culture, and they're trying to be something else in an environment that doesn't necessarily welcome that. And so we also look at how can you navigate that, how can you bring the part of yourself and celebrate yourself in a way that is empowering. And I think that's hugely important. What do you think, Arndt?
I really like that. The program will not only address your intellect, it will also address your emotions. And that's sometimes not easy for some of us in the healthcare setting, especially if coming from maybe very different cultural background. It will be a very different program than people are used to, because we're not only addressing social aspects or communication aspects. We will touch on them, but we will dive deeper into the emotional background, into deeper individual life of people. They don't need to disclose any personal information if they don't want to. It will be always a safe space. But people will understand that the thinking environment technique we're using will help them to dive much deeper into their real challenges and opportunities than they usually do in meetings or programs they might be used to.
I just want to say something about the programs we're planning. We're going to be starting with a program at the end of October, which is a 90-minute program. The details will be sent with this video. Then there were going to be other programs building on from that, which they can join, addressing these different things. Once people sign up, they become part of this network, feedback to us what more they would like to explore. This program starts at the end of October, 30th of October. The first module, which is 90 minutes in the morning, and it's going to be online, which means that people can join from anywhere. So we will be bringing online other programs which touch on leadership, communication, intercultural aspects, giving more insights into how the thinking environment can be employed by you to really further your careers and to enhance the contribution that you're able to bring to your organizations.
We are closing the gap between the official programs and production programs and everything available. But there is something which is missing. How am I working in this new system?
We know that it's a challenging environment now, politically, socially. We really want to say that this is a space where you belong, where you can bring yourself, where we can celebrate difference. We can really say how much we appreciate the that overseas bring to the UK and to the NHS. You'll see that there are, when you first sign up to one of our programs, where we will also invite you to be part of this network, which will be a space for a group that advocates on behalf of you. The information is available on the website, and we look forward to hearing from you and hopefully seeing you on the 30th of October.
We would love you to join our program, to meet you, to hear your path, your experience, your life, as much as you want to share it.